What's up, y'all? Hey, you see my grades coming in? It's crazy. I've been waiting all my life for this. but what's up, y'all? Um, a great therapy session yesterday. My therapist and I were able to discuss some things that were very useful, helpful for me. And then later on that evening, uh, I guess it was on his heart to send me a text, and he did, basically saying that whatever safety I didn't feel when I was younger, I'm basically been seeking to rediscover that. Um, and I'm looking at my neighbor's dog be outside. But the thing about it is, so while we're talking about the stuff, we're talking about the manic moments that I've experienced. Um, and then obviously alcohol abuse. And so yesterday I downloaded this I Am Sober app, and it seems pretty cool in the sense of it's like you're just discussing with people who's going through the same thing you're going through or been where you've been. So it's a no judgment zone. It's a very supportive type of environment. And then the way they were describing how they felt, like when they relapse or however they want to call it, the binging and stuff, what triggered it. And I noticed a lot of times stress and heartbreak was triggering a lot of these conversations with them in regards to them choosing drinking. Stress and heartbreak. I was like, because that's kind of what I was experiencing. And then they also, then it's the shame, like, oh, I went 22 days without drinking, and then I had one last night. Or some people will be like, hey, I was on a bender. They call it a bender. Or, when you binge, for numerous days, which that was me last week. As soon as I was off work, I went 4 days without drinking. And then I went drinking. I was drinking Friday after work, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Did I drink Tuesday? I don't know if I drank Tuesday. I might have just been so loaded up. But so what I did was I started looking up videos on sobriety on YouTube. And because what happens when we have these moments between alcohol abuse or whatever addictions you deal with, and then or getting through, and if you diagnosed with some additional thing like me, I was diagnosed with bipolar, and it's this cycle of shame and guilt. And so, we fight through it, we push through it, despite the fact of how humiliated we feel. And, I've seen other people say they binged, then they missed work, and I'm like, oh man, I can relate to that. And it's like this embarrassment over and over again. But yesterday, like I said, I downloaded the app, and then I started looking at videos on sobriety on YouTube. And then I did not realize there was how many people that were quote unquote successful that struggled with the same things. Because all these interviews start coming up, like Ann Hatch, I think, and a couple of people, and it made me feel a little bit better. Like, okay, I'm not the only one, because I can remember a life that I lived that didn't involve alcohol, especially abusing it. And I also remember around the time it had a shift, and I remember, obviously, in more recent years, it just went. And that's why I started seeking help. Last year when I started seeking therapy, when I started seeking more recently psychological help as well as therapy. And it was because I realized I wasn't as strong in certain areas I wanted to, especially when it came to forgiving myself or not operating out of shame and guilt, especially after divorce. Some people don't take divorce as hard, and some of us we do. And then obviously we have childhood traumas, um, and all those things came into play, especially when I moved back to my hometown. Because as much as I love my hometown of St. Louis overall, like as a city, before is my relationship with St. Louis. This is not me downing like people or nothing like that, but for my relationship with St. Louis, I had so many bad experiences um, as a child here, teenager, early 20s. It's like, and then when I left here, even though I only went 4 hours away to live in Kansas City, then I started traveling the country. It brought my perspective, but I've been back here. The energy of the people I encountered here versus what I encountered other places, it just wasn't good for me. Now, granted, as I've been expanding my social circles, um, I'm meeting different type of people. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and people who've been where I've been, some people haven't, but I'm meeting more people who energies were more alignment. Because I kind of came back and damn near hung out with some of the same type of people I knew when I was a kid. I ain't gonna say the same people, but the same type of people, and that just wasn't smart of me. I was kind of more advanced in my thinking than them, just based on exposures, from a personal professional, and that added to some of my depression of a lot of violence. And then I became this mean, bitter a-hole, especially when it came to women, like verbally, what I'm saying? I could just get mad because I hadn't healed from, well, multiple layers of hurt when it came to women, starting from some childhood stuff. I'm talking about like mom, stepmom type of stuff. And then, going through a divorce and stuff. So I was just angry and hurt. And then I've been hurting people. And I'm not going to make it seem like it was that far long ago. And I talk about this stuff in my therapy, even in my notebook. I haven't journaled too deeply, but I remember saying I wanted to learn to let go of that anger. And sometimes I'm doing better. I think I also got to a point where I felt misunderstood. Especially then I felt so devalued and so minimized when it came to the possibility of like having a love life. Because at one point I gave much of myself to as many people as I could. It was just my nature, and the energies weren't reciprocated. But I also learned that was my fault because I was giving people stuff they didn't ask for, or my expectation of them was something they didn't ask for. So I'm learning that's my fault. So I set myself up for heartbreak and disappointment, you know. And then because I've been married twice in my 20s, and then I had children with those women. I had children with each woman I married, and then so like when you talk with people and we get talking about, oh, how many kids you got, and then I tell them, they're like, wow. I'm like, damn, I was married, mother. And then it's this reinforcement of embarrassment or feeling like you're not good enough. So it's like now I gotta work hard enough to make enough money for someone to like me and love me for who I am, which that's not really love, and you can't get upset with people if they think you got too much going on. So what I done is I started alienating myself from social interactions. And that's when I started even abusing alcohol even more, because I'm just sitting in the house when I'm not at work. And then, of course, like many people, went through some tough financial challenges. And it's like, just rebuilding. But with this today, I am thankful that I uh, download this app where it counts your days and stuff. And outside of that, you can engage in conversation with people within reason. Because I know that you can't directly reply to anybody. And that might, that's probably a good thing. But people can comment on your post. But you can't, like, add them to reply back. And that's probably a good thing. And then me looking at videos of other people's who overcame recovery. And then, I'm learning in life, you got to make your own choices. Like when I talk to people at church, they be like, yeah, I don't think you should go to AA, because they reinforce I'm an alcoholic. And of course, they like to believe in power in words. And I get it. But I think different things work for different people. So you have to do what works for you. And so that's what it is. The other day I went to open mic for the first time in a while, and it was cool. And I was able to laugh at some guys. There were some shitty jokes, but that's part of open mic and comedy. But it was some stuff that just made me laugh. I'm not sure if I'm quite mentally and emotionally ready to get back out there in that capacity, though. I can tell something about some level of social interaction with people. It just makes me feel so stressed. Which people are like, huh? When that happened? Just like a huge chunk of my confidence, it's like I lost it. I'm not sure where. I'm not sure how. But I did. But either way, man, I'm hearing a lot of gunshots. It do kind of make you uncomfortable going outside too. I'm like, it's crazy how these things have happened. But either way, man, I'm doing this for documentation purposes, document my journey in life, seeing the progress. Because you go through my videos, you can see the comedy, you can see the relationships, the stuff, the kids, everything. And then you can see when I'm living alone, divorced, I'm back in my hometown. You can kind of see it, And I also do this because one day when my children may look at these videos, maybe they can see an additional perspective of who I am, my heart intent, and know that my story is a portion of their story as well. But you guys have a great day.